Hello hunters, and welcome back to the Gunners Guild. Although per the norm lately, we're not going to go over guns, sorta. Today's topic is the hammer in Dauntless. And like the gun lance, it does have a gun attached to it, so it counts, right? Right. Anyway, we're going to briefly go over the hammer meta, what to use, and why, so let's dig in. The basics of the hammer are pretty easy. You swing, you cause KOs, and you keep swinging. You can empower your swings with MO by right clicking as you swing, but be careful, it eats stamina and it does slow down your attacks. You also need to play the reload minigame from time to time. The real damage comes in the new attack, the Aether Slam. After a 3-hit left click combo, you can click or hold right click and then jump and do a slam that discharges all your shellings. Hitting a monster with this automatically reloads your shells and grants empowered MO, so you want to use this a lot. One other neat gimmick is that you can sprint and shell to launch yourself in the air to close the gaps really quick. It comes in handy from time to time. But to be honest, that's basically all there is to hammer. Obviously it's going to take some time to master, but it's a pretty simple weapon. So let's get into hammer crafting. Obviously the best choice here is going to be the Hellion hammer, as it's the best for all weapons. The reason being is that Dauntless has a severe lack of power cell slots, and the Hellion weapons all come with 2 power slots and a power skill on top of it, so that's just gravy. Alternative hammers you can make include Ragetail's hammer, since it's a neutral element and has power slot and a power skill. Resi's Break of Dawn is also nice against the 2 Umbral Behemoths, and it's actually pretty good for adrenaline builds. And Stalker's Price is good for low life builds. But honestly, unless it's a fire behemoth, I'm probably just going to be running Inferno's Burden. Also, you can't talk about the hammer without including the exotic Molten Edict. Like most exotics, it's kind of underwhelming since you can't change the special and it really doesn't scale all that well. But it's a fun ranged alternative if you want to give it a go. I personally don't think it's all that impressive though, at least not right now. Once exotics get an Omnicell slot that you can put anything into it, then we're talking, but you know, them's ways down the line. Anyway, let's move on to specials. We have 2 options here. You have Concussive Salvo, which is a charged gun for it, so this is the default special. It's fine for booping and it does okay damage, but it's really not all that special. The other special, Landbreaker, lets you pump the ground with a shell and make a buff that you and your allies can pick up. You can hold it down to pump it more times so more people can pick it up and blah 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 blah. With regular MO, it buffs damage by about 20%, and empowered, I believe, is 40%. It's good though. This is my preferred special because it's also bugged right now, which is just gravy. If you use your Aether Slam while you have Landbreaker, it's bugged in that you will always drop a Landbreaker at your feet once you use your Aether Slam. Basically making the buff up all the time and you don't have to stop and do it yourself, which is just super nice, and it's quite overpowered to be honest. I assume it'll get patched out soon, but even then it's still a good buff. For mod slots, we currently have 3 choices. First being Weighted Crown, which just makes you deal consistent stagger damage across all the limbs and heads, and you know, it's fine. I don't really think it's that special unless you're running like KO King and you just really want to get those KOs, but I mean, it's fine. It's not my top pick. Impulse Crown gets you bonus damage for 10 seconds when you do the jump attack, which doubles if you hit the face. Unfortunately, this is going to be a 10% increase or 20% if you hit the face, and it only lasts 10 seconds. It's only going to net you a few couple swings at best. I mean, it's fun since you can kind of change the way you play based upon it, but it's certainly not all that great. If it was lasting, 15-20 seconds, that'd be something else. Now, the last one is simple. Bigger clip size, 6 instead of 4. This is what we want, because when you do the big Aether Slam finisher, it discharges all the ammo, which means you're going to get 2 more shots out of it. You can also pump the special tire with this, so your Concussive Salvo and your Landbreaker can get more uses. But, mostly it's for the damage on the Aether Slam. And finally, the sets. Now, if you saw my repeaters video, then this is going to look pretty familiar, because unfortunately, there's only a few good armor pieces right now to use, and the meta is pretty much the same for all weapons, unfortunately. You are free to choose between the lanterns, either Embermane or Drask. Those are the 2 top lanterns, but they're pretty similar in effectiveness now since the Drask lantern was nerfed, so it's all personal preference. First up is the attack speed set though. This can swap out the Cunning Cells for Evasive Fury if you like, but ultimately they're probably going to even out to be about the same. This is my go-to hammer set, just like it is for my repeaters, just because it's actually pretty consistent. However, I do run Evasive Fury over Cunning because the attack speeds lets me get the Aether Slams out faster. Now you can also swap it a little bit by taking away Evasive Fury or Cunning and just maxing out Molten and Rage Hunter. Again, not really significant either way, this just nets you some extra oomph on an enraged monster rather than just the chance for crits. Molten at +3 is actually really good. I don't think you need it to go to +6, but it helps keep that uptime. So next we have the Low Life Hammer. And this you just have to eat one hit or two and then you should be fine keeping 50% HP with Iceborne. The setup is very friendly to those who keep getting hit, and it plays very well together. It's got attack speed, damage reduction, leech, it's got it all. I personally like Low Life Hammer, but I hate getting hit, so I don't like actually using it. It's great on paper, I just don't really care for it. And finally, the other dark horse, which is Adrenaline Hammer. If you use empowered shells, you know that it's very easy to use up all your stamina and keep it off because you don't regen stamina while you're using your empowered swings. And while you're empty, this is going to give you a huge boost in damage, especially if you have endurance 6. You're basically going to be sitting at 40% increased damage with no stamina. With overpowered and cunning on top of it, you can get some really nasty numbers. I use Break of Dawn here because we need that mobility slot for endurance, plus it comes with cunning and 10% chance to have attacks hit twice. This all adds up to be really nice. The only downside is that you don't have very much attack speed, just conduit, so I'd probably take the Ember main lane for this one for that extra attack speed. So once you have all your stuff together, just go and swing and beat down a monster. Hammer just does crazy amounts of damage, it's super OP right now. That's about it for the hammer meta though, just go Aether Slam left and right. Thank you all for watching, and good luck out there hunters in whatever you may be hunting.